Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're here today. Today we'll discuss Billy Squier, Don't Say No, released April 13th, 1981. And I gotta say, this album's pretty awesome. And I remember I was a young kid when this came out, but all the teenagers in my neighborhood had this thing playing all the time, and quite a few of them, when he came through town touring this record, I believe, is a lot of the guys that were older than me in the neighborhood went to this concert, and that was like their first concert, but I was too young to go at that time. But this was a monster record. I remember and these songs still get played all the time on the radio, and it's pretty remarkable. But this thing was huge back in those days. And Billy, he kind of, when he was a little bit younger, he thought he was gonna get into making some beer. He used to like Budweiser and Coors and all that, so he comes up with this idea of Billy beer. But then Jimmy Carter's brother kind of stole his idea and put his own beer out there, so Billy decides I'll get into the rock business, which we're glad he did because he gave us some pretty awesome albums. And this one, you're probably familiar with a lot of the songs on it. It's like amazing that you get a record, and this is one of the few records that I really like every song. Even bands that I love, there's going to be songs that are just kind of dogs, but this one I really can't find one. I mean, right off the bat, In the Dark, classic rockin' tune. The keyboards fit perfectly with the guitars, everything works. It's a song, you hear it all the time. You can probably turn on your radio right now and it'll probably be playing. Then the legendary song, The Stroke. That one is, everybody knows The Stroke. Cool rhythm, beat, still another great song. Then you get into 3, My Kind of Lover, another cool rocker. So you have right off the bat like 3 radio classic songs. Like, and you're not gonna get that on most records. So it's like 1, 2, 3 songs that are played on the radio, whatever we're going back, how long, 40 some years later, that still, you're going to hear these songs. I guarantee if you go out today and turn on a radio, you'll hear at least one of these songs, if not more. Then you go into maybe some of the lesser known tunes, like You Know What I Like, which is got a really cool drum intro and this kind of drum beat that goes throughout the song. And for whatever, this is a cool rocker, but for some reason, it kind of reminds me of something Kiss would do. I don't know why, but when I hear it, it sounds like this would be like a song that Kiss would probably put out in the 70s, and this is just amped up a little more. But definitely a cool tune. Then you go to 2 Days Gone, another cool rocker, great chorus. This one could have been like another hit, but I know he's already got quite a few hits on here, but another one that I could easily see being played on the radio all the time, but it's probably lesser known than the other songs. Then of course, Lonely as the Night. That's another song. I would say the 4th song on here that's like a constant radio classic, over 40 years later. Cool groove to it, then they rock out at the end. Then you go, What Do You Want From Me? This is like a cool drum intro, and this is a pretty heavy tune. It kind of reminds me of Let the Music Do the Talking by Aerosmith, like that kind of a vibe to it, but it's a pretty heavy song. I know Billy, he probably has songs that are like kind of radio sort of friendly songs, but this one, it could have been played on the radio too, but it's pretty heavy. He's definitely probably the most rocking out song on here. Then we get to our first slow song, and really the only kind of slower ballady type of song, Nobody Knows, and he's singing in this falsetto voice, and he was kind of listening to the Rolling Stones, Emotional Rescue and Fool to Cry, and then he had some Bee Gees going, and he's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I'll write a song and sing like that. And it kind of works, because he sings it pretty well. So it's kind of a cool too. And then another one that was, you hear it played on the radio sometimes, but I Need You, which has the cool bass line. And I think they're doing a bass keyboard synth like together to play the bass line. That's what it sounds like to me anyways. That kind of goes throughout the song, and it has kind of the slower parts to it, and it amps up a little to the rocking stuff during the chorus. But I really like that bass synth kind of keyboard line through it. Then you go, album closes out with Don't Say No, another cool rocker. I think this got played on the radio a little bit here and there, not as much as the other main four songs, but a great way to close out the record. Awesome rockin' song. So if you haven't heard this record, you definitely want to check it out. It's one of those, I would say, definitely classic, great records of all time. In my opinion, when you got a record that's got four songs that are still played on the radio, over 40 years later, like literally every day, and a handful of other songs that will get played occasionally, but they're still just as good as the other songs. It's a pretty damn good record, and I'm glad Billy made it. And well, although it didn't work for him in the beer business, it's good that he got into rock and roll instead. Well, anyways, hopefully you're having a great day out there, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Goodbye, everyone.